A very good morning, children. Today we are going to see one of the parts of speech which is adjective. Okay, so adjective plays a very important role in the conversation because it describes the noun, defined as the word which describes the noun or else qualifies the noun or it modifies the noun. Okay, whether it is a person or a thing, so whatever it is, it will modify the noun. Okay, it will describe the noun, it will qualify the noun, add quality to the noun, it describes the noun, so and moreover it adds more information to the noun or the pronoun. So adjective, if you have to tell in one sentence, it qualifies the noun, it adds quality to the noun or pronoun or any other thing. So that is what an adjective is. So now what we'll try to do is we'll try to understand the adjective in a other way using the examples. Okay, you can see some of the examples of the adjectives here. So here I have written it is a deep well. So I need not write like this, I can write it is a well, but what I have done here is I have written a word called as deep here. So this deep is a word which is modifying the noun. This well is a noun. So now what kind of well it is? It is a deep well. I can just say that it is a well. Okay, but now I just want to add some modification to that. I want to describe the well, so that's why I'm telling that it is a deep well. So deep here becomes the adjective because this word is describing the well, isn't it? So now if you see the second one also, she brought new books. Okay, now I can say that she brought books. She brought books. But now what I'm doing here is I'm adding a word which will qualify, which will describe the noun. So now the noun here is the books. Okay, it is a noun. So what is this one? New. So this word new is I'm using it to qualify the noun, describe the noun, modify the noun. So this new is the adjective here. It is an old dress. So it's a dress. It is a dress. I can say it, but what I'm doing here is I want to make sure that everybody understand that this is an old or a new dress. So here I have added a word called as old which will describe this dress. So now it is say old dress. So this old is also a adjective. Okay, and here I love red car. So what kind of car? I love car, that's fine, but I am very much specific here. I'm very choosy here, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm adding a word called as red here. So this red says that I want a red car. I want car, but what kind of car I want? I want a red car. So here red becomes a adjective. So another one here, I have 10 chocolates. So how many chocolates I have? You can say I have chocolates, but I want to tell the number, quantity. Okay, so here 10 will become the adjective. So like this, there are number of adjectives which qualifies the noun, which will describe the noun, which will modify the noun. Let's see few more examples here, right? Maggie wore a beautiful hat. So I can say that Maggie wore a hat, but I want to describe that. I want to say how beautiful it is, how it's looking like. So I added a word to the noun so that I want to add I want to modify the noun, describe the noun, and I say Maggie wore a beautiful hat. Okay, Maggie wore a beautiful hat. Now the next example, if you can see, my cake should have 16 candles. So I'm very much specific here. How many candles should be there on my cake? So I want some 16 candles. So I can say I want candles, but I'm a bit specific here. So I want 16 candles. So 16 here is a word which is an adjective because it is describing the candles, that is the noun. Next one is the I bought a new book. I bought a book, it's fine, but I want to describe the book again, so I'm using I want a new book. Next one is it's a hot day. It's a hot day. So what kind of day it is? It's a hot day. So hot is also describing the day, so hot is also an adjective. I brought vegetables. Okay, I bought vegetables, but sometimes you say I bought fresh vegetables. You want to make sure that everybody knows that you brought some nice fresh vegetables. So you say that instead of saying I brought vegetables, you'll say I brought fresh vegetables. Okay, this is how you can say about the adjectives. Okay, so then you can see on the screen we have several adjectives to describe the taste. So Mostly when you go to the restaurant, or when you have a nice dinner at home, so you want to appreciate the dinner, isn't it? So they'll ask you, how is the food? You'll say, yeah, nice, very nice, good. Instead of that, you can use a lot many words which will describe the food. You can say it's really delicious food, isn't it? So delicious is a word which is used to describe the food here. Like this, on the screen you can see several words which will describe the food. Bitter, lemon flavored, spicy, okay, minty, which is full of mint, sweet, delicious, okay, sour, okay, salty, yummy. So these are all the words which are describing the food, isn't it? So that is how you describe the taste. So like this, for so many things, like to describe the colors, we have words. To describe the personality of a human being, there are words. To describe a country, there are words, right? So you describe a thing. When you see a thing also, you want to describe that, you have many words. All these words which describe the noun are the. So here we are going to see the degrees of comparison, right? So now what are these degrees of comparison? Okay, that is what we are going to see now. Coming to the degrees of comparison. Degrees of comparison. You can see adjectives have their own degrees. Adjectives have their own degrees, which are called as degrees of comparison. And all these degrees of comparison are used to compare things one with the another. So for example, you have a sheet and your brother have a new sheet and all. So both of you have new sheets, and you try to compare that mine is better, and he will say that no, mine is better. So we always compare, right? When you come to the school, you bring school bags, right? New school bags and all. Then you'll also compare, right? My school bag is really good. So they will say, no, my school bag is the best in the class. So always we try to compare, isn't it? So these all comparison, the words which we are using in the comparison are all the adjectives. That is why we are calling the form of adjectives as degrees of comparison. Degrees of comparison are nothing but types of adjectives. So now there are 3 degrees of comparison. In 3 ways we can compare the things, right? The first one is the positive, second one is the comparative, and third one is the superlative. So we are going to see the positive, comparative and superlative degrees. Okay children? Okay, now we'll go. So children, there are 3 degrees of comparison as we have learned now. One is positive, second one is comparative, and third one is the superlative. So these are the 3 degrees of comparison which we are going to learn now. Okay, so this is what you are learning from your lower classes, right? So now coming to the positive, right? Okay, for example, I'm taking here old. Okay, so old is a positive comparison, right? Now when you compare, when it comes to comparison, it becomes older, and comes to superlative is the oldest. Okay, in the same way, if you take hot, hotter, hottest. Okay, and then small, smaller, smallest, tall, taller, tallest. So like this, you can keep on writing several adjectives. Okay, now these are nothing but the degrees of comparison. Okay, so in the degrees of comparison there are 3. Okay, there are 3 degrees of comparison. One is the positive, second one is the comparative, and third one is the superlative. So old, older, oldest. Old is the positive, comparative is older, and superlative is the oldest. Okay, so apart from that, okay, now here what we are using here is we are using the ER. Okay, here we are using the EST. So now it becomes very easy for us. Now there are some words, okay, for which we cannot use the ER or EST. Okay, but still we have to make them comparative and superlative adjectives. So now for example, if I take beautiful. Now what is the comparative of this? Beautifuler? No, you cannot write like that. So instead you will write more beautiful. And the superlative of this more is the most beautiful. Okay, now second one, the right, cheerful. Again here, more cheerful, most useful. Again, more useful, most useful. Okay, we'll take one more example and we'll close this one. Precious, which is very, very valuable. So here we can write is more precious, most precious. So like this, what we are using here is we are using the more and most to make these positive adjectives, positive degrees of comparison into comparative and superlatives. So this is also very, very important to know or to learn the degrees of comparison, how you will compare the things, how you will compare the people. So that is what we are going to learn within no time. So now these are all very, very important, because if you don't know what is the comparative and also what is the superlative degrees of comparison, most of the times you'll write it wrong. Now there are some other degrees of comparison which are completely different. Okay, for example, if I take good, more good, most good, gooder, goodest, no, you can't write like that, isn't it? Now these three words are completely different. If you take the good, it is better, and superlative will be the best. And if you take the word bad, okay, this will be worse, and the superlative will be worst. Okay, like this. If you take another word, far, okay, it will become farther and then farthest. Okay, like this, you need to write the right degrees of comparison. Okay, so these are all the degrees of comparison which will come in your examinations. Okay, and now these are all nothing but the adjectives. These are the forms of the adjectives. So learning the degrees of comparison is very, very important to us. So now these are all the basics, and in the next session we will see the sentences, how to compare the things and all, and what are the 5 models of the degrees of comparison. Okay children, until then, see you all. Have a great day.